let's get ready to start our meeting by saying the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Howdy there and welcome. Thanks for everyone coming out tonight. Looks like we aren't necessarily going to have to dodge the weather. I hear it's not coming in until later on, but that doesn't mean we're going to have an extra long meeting tonight. So people have reminded me that some of our meetings have been a little bit long. So we'll try to move expeditiously through this. I'll just highlight a few things. We've got two opportunities for public input. So the first opportunity for public input is for things that are on the agenda. So if you want to speak to any of the items that we have on our agenda, Parks and Recs, RFQ submissions, Tree City USA presentation, or special events, that would be the time to provide public input. And when we get to special events, I'll call the organizers up one by one, and they'll have an opportunity to share with us. And then we will have a second opportunity for public input. That'll happen after we finish our business, so it comes after unfinished business. And that's when you can provide public input for anything that's not on the agenda. So if there's something that's not on here for our decision or deliberation, that's the time to provide that public input. So again, thank you all very much. Welcome, commissioners. Let's get started with our work by taking a look at the minutes from our last meeting. These minutes are from our meeting on, let me get them up here, January the 21st. Tell you what, we've got another set of minutes. Let's go ahead and do these first. This is for our special call meeting that we had on January the 3rd. So we did have this meeting, and we did not get the chance to approve the minutes for that at our last meeting. So we'll do that, and then we will approve the minutes for our meeting on January the 21st. So may I have a motion and a second to get this up for discussion?
Make a motion to accept the minutes from February 3rd.
I have a second.
Second.
Okay. Commissioners, you've had these minutes for a little while. Take a look. This is pretty short. Any questions? Any corrections, clarifications we need to make? Okay. All in favor of approving the meeting minutes for January 3rd, 2025, called meeting, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay, these minutes are approved. Next item is our minutes for the meeting on January 21st, 2025. This included a beer board meeting by Vice Mayor Satterfield. May I get a motion and a second to get these up for discussion?
The January 1st minutes, we need to add me to that.
The January 21st?
Yes, I am not in the attendance.
Okay, we'll get you added there. Thank you, Commissioner Martin.
And I make a motion to approve the January 21st meeting.
Second. Okay, I've got a motion and a second, and already one revision there. Anything else? It's important because it's the record of our meeting. I'll give you just another minute to take a look at this. Okay, any last call for any revisions or corrections or clarifications? Okay, all in favor of approving the minutes of our meeting on January the 21st, 2025, as amended by adding Commissioner Martin in the minutes, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay, our minutes are approved. Next item that we have for tonight is the interim city manager report and finance report.
Okay, as far as my report, the only thing I want to update you on is the audit. They're working on that. Then we have an on-site visit on the 11th. They spent all day, got most everything that they needed. Just some keyboard things. I got an email from JR yesterday, and they should get wrapped up hopefully by the end of this month. We get it to the state. We'll go to the finance reports.
Is this the first on-site audit with our new auditors? Or did we have one before?
They came last year.
Okay.
That was our first year with them.
Okay.
And then this is our second year.
All right, I guess they're not new anymore.
Okay, full ledger operating statement. Revenues were fairly good this month. Pretty much, we budgeted for a total income of $111,000. We came in at $117 and some change. Going down to expenses, nothing really over or under. We're pretty well right at budget. Under City Hall operations down at the bottom of page 2, the utilities were up a little bit. Those were the $1,400 of that was propane. And then on page 3, we have another expenditure of $549. That was for a workers' comp payment for one of the officers. Police administration looks good. Public safety is good. Public works is actually a little under budget. On page 4, bike trail maintenance is about double because we've added the handicap porta potty, and they're doing a second weekly service on that and one of the other porta potties along the trail. So overall, we budgeted for a net income for the month of $7,225, and we had a net income actual $17,788. We're still about $63,200 to the good for the fiscal year.
Okay. Thank you very much for that, leading us through the operating statement. Commissioners, any questions? Okay. And how about the charter of accounts?
Okay, general fund we have right at $749,000. Street fund's at $209. Growth fund is holding at $4,800, and our accessibility fund is at $1,400.
Commissioners, any questions for interim city manager? And then I'll ask for us to approve these finance report. Okay, can I have a motion to approve the finance report?
Make a motion to approve the finance report.
Have a second.
Second.
Okay, I've got a motion and a second. Any further questions? Okay, all in favor of approving the finance report as presented, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, the finance report is approved. That brings us next to the police report. Chief Connie.
Yes, sir. All right, I'm going to break my normal tradition of telling you everything's running smooth and don't have anything to report other than business as usual. So, back in 2017, I came to Townsend to take over the chief role, and shortly after that, I made my first hire, and that first hire was Blake Garland. And while he was new to the police department at that time, he's certainly not new to the area, and has relatives here and friends here, and spent his whole life in this area. So anyway, Blake is still with us. So that's another rare thing these days. Find somebody that stays long term, and actually have a good crew of guys that will hopefully be with us long term, and it appears like they will. So that's a rare find, and I'm very thankful for that. Blake has really excelled and gone in a lot of cases above and beyond what I've expected of him. And as I started thinking about the future for this place, which I do all the time because it's my job. One of my jobs is to, when I do leave here, is to leave it in better shape than what it was when I took it. And I want to be able to hand it off to somebody with a seamless transition. And so I started some preliminary planning for that kind of thing. And one of the things I thought about was having some continuity and
the what ifs. What if I'm gone? What if something happens to me? What if? And then I look at my sergeant, Tony Rayburn, and he's older than I am. And so we're both in the twilight years of our police career, at least. So that's just not too far down the road, and as we all know, time goes faster and faster. So started thinking about some of those things, and that said, I decided to make a little shift and in our chain of command, and add one additional little link in it, and that's why I'm up here talking to you. So tonight, Blake, if you want to come on up, have your family come up with you. Tonight, I want to present this to Officer Blake Garland, and this is a certificate of promotion, and I'll just read it to you. Be it known, Officer Jeremy Blake Garland has shown to be an exceptional police officer and a dedicated employee of the City of Townsend Police Department, and therefore, having completed necessary leadership and supervisory training, he is hereby promoted to the rank of corporal, effective, and this was backdated, because it took effect January 30th, 2025. So, with that promotion, comes his chevrons here, and I think his boys are going to help him pin those on. Later, if they're not hurt. As long as they're not upside down. Interesting backstory. I've known Blake's mom for decades, and knew Blake when he was a little bitty, and I was at the very start of my law enforcement career, and he was just a little young fella, and so it's kind of cool to kind of come full circle and see a young fella mature and become a man and have his own family and do just a wonderful job in a very, very tough career. And so I'm super proud of him, and he's earned every bit of it. Every bit of it. So I hope you guys will join me in congratulating Corporal Garland in his promotion. Now, Mayor, the rest of it's, everything's going fine.
All right, thanks, Chief, and on behalf of the city and the city council, congratulations, Corporal Garland. Really, thank you for your service. Very much appreciated. Okay, commissioners, any questions for the chief? Okay, very good. Let's move next to the fire department report. Commissioner Martin, can I ask you to provide any information?
I just got a text from the fire chief, and he said that we do not have anything at this time to bring forth to the commission.
Okay, very good. Well, I think the next item is yours as well. Commissioner of Streets and Maintenance.
All right. I have a text message from Mr. Jones, and he said to tell you he was all sorry that he couldn't be here. He's enjoying 80-degree weather. in Florida. So, everything is going good. We went through the grant process with the Hustler mowers, but even with the grant, the bad mower company are still the better price. Since we've been dealing with bad boy mowers, they wanted to keep our business and kept the quote the same, even though the price did go up just to keep our business with them. They did not go up on the price, the original quote that they gave us a couple months ago. We'll come back to that after I read his thing here. We have accomplished a lot of cleanup at the city park and at the lower end of town. It's looking very nice, and now we're working in the barn cleaning out and hopefully to finish towards the end of the month to get that completely finished, hopefully. Accomplished almost all the work that we had set in our goals to do for the winter project. Just have 2 things left, to which is painting the tunnels and edging the sidewalks. And they got delayed edging the sidewalks because TDOT is working on those at the moment. They didn't want to get in each other's way. So they're still hoping to edge the sidewalks before mowing season. It's been quiet lately about the, been quiet lately, okay. The other thing we have to bring up, let me find it here. A lot of people have been asking about some entrances along our highway business. They're saying it's very hard to see where the entrance is, and we could put some kind of reflective paint on the curbs for better visibility. Thank you all for your time, and if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me, Jason Jones, Maintenance.
A couple of years ago, we painted the reflective paint.
Yes, I'm going to bring that up. I talked to Maximilian, who is with the state, and he said that it was up to the city. We could paint those. The city could paint those, or we could make it for the businesses could paint those themselves and set up guidelines of how we wanted the businesses to do them, or the city could do them ourselves. That was completely up to the commission. So how would you all like to do that? Do you want the maintenance men to paint that? I know Tim has been in contact, or Mr. Ogle, sorry, has been in contact to look at what kind of paint they use and how to make it reflective. So do we want the businesses?
I have a question.
Yes.
Are we talking about doing the curbs by the streets
Yes.
and doing driveways?
Just the curbs for the businesses, like just where they go into the business. IGA is really hard to see. The Dollar General is extremely hard, especially if it is raining. And also the Exxon, especially if your windows are tinted, you can't really see where the entrance is when it's dark and raining. So it would just be the businesses, not.
My biggest problem is turning on Depot Avenue. I miss it all the time.
So as the commission, do we want to go ahead and have the maintenance men paint all the entrances to the businesses, or do we want to leave that up to the business?
Commissioner Martin, one of the things that I think we need to prioritize too is repainting the crosswalks in the bike trails. So there's one in particular on the way to my house on Old Tuckaloosa Road, very hard to see. So I wonder if we could, if we take some of this on, could we repaint some of the crosswalks and things on the bike trail as well?
I don't see why that couldn't. I think we still have the
We still
stuff.
have stuff to do.
Okay,
We still have some more stripping to do all that.
How much would it cost to paint these entrances for some of these businesses? Now, there could be a whole lot of businesses. Are we going to organize that?
Mr. Ogle, what was the price on the paint? Did you tell me? I forgot to write it down, sir.
It's $68 for a 5-gallon bucket.
All right. And how much staff time we got involved?
It'd probably take about a couple hours, probably, or more,
Per,
to prep it and then paint it.
yeah. So how much staff time total to do
Oh.
this?
Do you think, what, 30 minutes, 20, 30
An
minutes
hour
per?
for both sides, probably.
Well, you're looking, if we do all the businesses.
All of them?
Yeah,
You're probably looking
a day or 2 days worth?
probably 3 days worth.
I would almost vote for it for consistency's sake, because
Yeah, maybe a week.
one might be great, and the other one might not be great, but consistency, we need to, yeah.
Okay.
Either that, or you gotta have very good guidelines. And that takes time, so I think
Well,
the city doing the whole thing is.
I am remembering that we put on extra help in the maintenance department.
Yes, we did.
So we do have some
Yeah.
bandwidth potentially to do that. So,
And we aren't to mowing season just yet, so.
We're probably still another month out, full mowing season.
all right. So we think the total cost on this thing would be under $500 plus staff time?
Yeah, probably.
Chief?
Just from some experience, whatever you're thinking money-wise, at the very least, I would double it. Because that's the way it seems to work out.
Yeah, I think we can put some sort of parameters on there, and that way if it ends up costing more, that's it.
But we got to factor too, if it's gonna rain, sun, while we're doing it, to get it done. So I say estimate about a week, just to be safe.
Okay. Mr. Ogle?
I'm not 100% sure that the quote that I got includes the glass beads to make it reflective. But what I was told was they paint it and then they put glass beads on it to give you the reflectivity. I'm not sure of that, and she is on vacation right now, so it'll be maybe a week before I can find out.
Okay.
Maybe we need to try a sample out and see what it takes and how long it takes, and that way we'll know the overall cost, whether it's $500 or $10,000.
If we did a small project, just to give us an idea on cost, and would we still have time to complete the project before mowing season?
Yeah. We can.
And will the state have all the handicap accesses done by then? Because we're going to paint those codes around those.
How are we gonna
I can
coordinate?
find out tomorrow. I can ask Kevin tomorrow about how long it's gonna
Okay.
take.
I believe whenever I talked to them, get some more information about the project, they projected it to be done by midday.
Guys, going by that.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, I normally don't allow public input until we get to the public input, but Mr. Akers sometimes gives us a pearl of wisdom, so I'll indulge him here. He's got something.
So the Blount County Highway Department has a glass mill for recycling, and the glass beads that you need to put with your paint to make it reflective will be available to you, I would think, at no charge. So I would check with Mr. Hedrick's department down at the Highway Department and see about getting the beads for your paint at no charge.
Okay.
You
Bye.
want to go to them? Reach out. Okay.
We did a public input, just curious. Some of us also have a hard time not only seeing business entrances, but the roads and the streets. Any consideration for people wanting to turn down Depot or down Tiber or down Azure Howard or streets? Not only businesses, but streets too.
Streets are hard to see.
Some of them are.
Yes,
because there's no
yes, they are. I disagree. Okay, well, we might have to,
Consider that.
yeah, we might have to consider that. Commissioner Martin, what do you think? We'll take a motion and a second to do a pilot project on this, and they can come back and inform us next month?
Yes.
Okay,
That give you enough time to
Yeah.
get everything?
Yeah,
Okay.
sure.
okay, and you can keep a pilot project under about $500?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Would somebody like to move that?
Make a motion to do a pilot trial on seeing how much it would be to get the paint and maybe to get the glass from the highway department from Blount County to paint the curbs.
Okay. Have a second. Okay, got a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Um,
Any opposed? Okay, and I just asked too, when you come back, give us a little more detail on the bike path, because Because it really is hard to see in certain places.
Now, we have the stuff to touch up the bike path already, is that correct? Or do we need some more stripping?
The crosswalk?
Yeah.
We should have enough to finish the rest of it.
Okay,
We should.
okay.
I'll double check tomorrow, but I'm pretty sure we bought it all at once.
There's little stuff, you can barely see it now, but as you get up close to an intersection, it says highway crossing.
These
So
are
in addition to marking the crossing,
Yeah.
having that little thing that tells you, if you're not local, you might
Yeah,
zip through, especially on one of these e-bikes.
yeah.
Well, there is, at our higher trafficked areas, actually
Yeah.
the bikes and the walk actually have a stop sign on them.
Actually, at all of our cross streets.
A high density,
Yeah.
there is stop signs.
Okay.
Not at all of them, but most of the ones that have a lot of traffic, there's stop signs telling the bicyclists, because some of those places, there's curves and you can't see. Black Mash is one of them, you turn around the front of that curve and boom, so you really can't see. So there is stop signs on the bike trail. And talking about that, a citizen had mentioned too, just for us to keep in mind, that we may want to put some speed limit signs on the bike trail for e-bikes. So that may be something that we need to look at in the future.
Good suggestion. Okay, anything else on the maintenance?
Yes, I still have more, sorry. I'm spending money. As Jason's note said that we had talked to, we have 3 different quotes, and I'm going to turn it over to Gayla, what those quotes are and what the differences were in those.
Okay. We have a couple quotes, one from Hustler, just for the mowers. It came in right at $45,000 for just the mowers. Reached out to John Deere for 3 of those, it was $43,572. Plant City came in with the Bad Boys, which is what we currently have. And for the 3 mowers, it was $12,000 lower, but they're also giving us a deal on the grass shields and 3 canopies. So you get the 3 mowers, 3 canopies, 3 grass shields for $38,682. So we already have $28,000 budgeted for equipment purchase, so what I would need would be a motion and a second to appropriate $10,682 to be able to go ahead and get these. And then we're gonna put the older ones, keep one for spare that we currently have, and then put the others up for sale and gov deals, so we'll do some of that money.
And the sooner we can get our used mowers on gov deals, the better, because we'll get a better price, because people start looking now for lawn mowers before mowing season starts. And what was that price again, that we would have to allocate that wasn't in the budget?
$10,682.
I've got a question for Mr. Bryant.
Okay.
Of these mowers, Bad Boy, John Deere, Hustler,
Yeah.
are they all good mowers?
They
If we
are.
go with the lowest price one, is that still a good mower?
Well, the Bad Boys, we've had them since I've been here, and I've been here 6 years.
That's the kind we have now.
Yes, that's what we have now, and they've lasted us, I think, really the last one we bought, it's kind of gave us a little bit of trouble, but nothing major.
We can work on them ourselves, or we have to send them?
Well, they come with a warranty. They come with I think it's a 2-year warranty, if I'm not mistaken, on them for 2 years, and then everything else we do ourselves.
Okay. Is that your recommendation to go with the?
With the Bad Boys, because it comes with the canopies and the grass shoots. And to the Hustlers or the John Deere's, we're gonna have to add that, and there's no telling how much more that's gonna be from John Deere or Hustler.
And that was also Mr. Jones' recommendation, was to go with the Bad Boys. They have been really good to work with us.
Okay. That's all my questions.
I'm gonna add to that, on the Bad Boys, we did have one breakdown on us that day, and 2 days later, they had it back to us. So, they had a really good turnaround on helping us out.
So how much were the quotes for the other mowers? So we know what the competition is?
The Hustler came in at, for 3 mowers, $44,997.
Okay.
And then John Deere came in at $43,572, and that's just the mower.
Yeah, it's
You
not
have to
the
get
complete
attachments.
package.
That's not the package.
Yeah.
I just wanted to make sure we had multiple bids.
Yeah, and then the canopies, through Plant City are about $700 a piece. I'm sure that they're going over
Yeah, they really wanted to keep our business at Plant City, so they really worked with us and to try to get us the best deal that they could for the city.
Okay, Commissioners, unless there's any other questions, can I get a motion and a second to approve an additional $10,682 to go with the current appropriation so that we can purchase these 3 mowers?
Make a motion to approve the $10,068,200 for the lawnmowers.
Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Further discussion? Okay, all in favor of this appropriation for the mowers, say aye. Any opposed? Okay. Anything else?
I think that is all in my notes.
Okay, we're starting to rival Commissioner Satterfield.
I know it.
All right, Commissioner Satterfield, let's go with the recreation report.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Mayor. So the Parks and Rec Board, our last meeting was held last Tuesday, and we had a presentation from Ms. Sue Hamilton, who's here tonight, and she's on the agenda, so that will come a little bit later. We also, during the meeting, voted to order 2 park-approved grills for the city park on Mountain Avenue, so that, you know, people that want to rent out the park or use it for a birthday party and use the pavilion can have some grills up there to use. We had a workshop on February 5th where we discussed new budget line items so that we can kind of break it down a little more and really have better line items for the budget for Parks and Rec. We also sorted through a ton of caps and lids. We still have a lot more to go through, but we thank you all for those donations as usual. I don't know how many pounds we have so far, but we need 550 to make a table. So we've still got a ways to go, but still sorting through those caps and lids. We also discussed the RFQ review committee, which is also on the agenda tonight for the Special People's Park submittals as well. And then last night we had bingo, and we had 57 people here. As usual, it's a great turnout, so I encourage y'all to come to bingo when we have it. People have a lot of fun. And then also to report, we've been having a 6-week yoga series. So every Tuesday, Miss Vanessa Ledbetter has been the yoga instructor. So she has reported back to me every Tuesday that she's had a good turnout for yoga. And that's all I've got right now.
Excellent report. Commissioners, any questions for Vice Mayor Satterfield and the recreation report? Okay, thank you very much. Next on our agenda, Townsend Gateway Alliance. Not that I've seen Jill. Anybody else from TCGA here tonight? Okay. Next up, community plan update. Let's see, we have the vice chair, Mr. Houston Holden.
Hey guys, I think it's my first update in a while here for CPAC. I think our biggest update is twofold. One, we're in the process of scrubbing the document, scrubbing the land use and transportation plan, which basically means that we're partnering with the East Tennessee Development District as well as our friends from SEG, that's IDA, the consultant we have that you guys have all met, to go through the land use and transportation plan, update all the data, all the verbiage, basically try to bring it in line with 2024, 2025 standards. While the CPAC committee is not necessarily doing that scrubbing, we are asking that each of our members go through the land use and transportation plan chapter by chapter every single month and choosing a single chapter to review and then to specifically go, I wouldn't say line by line, but paragraph by paragraph with our consultants to ensure that they understand not just that they're updating the data from modern data sources and getting all the information updated there, but also ensuring that the preferences that have been established by our different community outreach and different community groups is reflected in how we do that updating. Really the biggest thing on the horizon right now is that East Tennessee Development Group is going through and asking for comments from the elected officials here in front of me, as well as our CPAC group and the Planning Commission and BZA for notes on all the various zoning regulations. So that's like everything out there, and essentially as a way to get the groundwork for public workshops coming up, either in March or April. I'm not exactly sure the date is that's being driven by ETDD, but the point underlying is that we are working through this land use and transportation plan to bring it up to 2025, and we are helping East Tennessee Development Group organize the workshops for just talking about what it means to update our zone. I think that's about it. Mayor, is there anything else that you feel like we should add on here?
Sounds like a good report. We do post up the videos from the Community Plan Advisory Committee, thanks to Mr. Brown. And so in a few days that will be available, and I would encourage folks to take a look. Today's advisory committee meeting was very data rich, and so they have some very current data that they presented today.
Yeah, thank you. Please, I'd love for as many people in this room to come out to our meetings as well. It's really nice to have folks actually, give us input, beyond the regular 5 or 10 faces that we have every month.
5 p.m. on the third Tuesday. Y'all are welcome to the advisory committee.
Sorry, questions?
Questions for Mr. Oldham?
No, just a lot of good data shared from that meeting today.
Okay, thanks, Mr. Oldham. Next item, public input for items on the agenda. Okay, if you're an event organizer, you can stand by for just a second. I'll call the event organizers up as we do the special events. Anybody signed up to provide public input for items on the agenda?
Tommy McAvoy,
I'll go later.
Okay.
Sandy,
I already was able to give my input.
All right. Okay, let's go to new business, Commissioners. First item up is Parks and Recreation. This is approval of committee members to review the RFQ submissions for the Special People's Park project. I'll turn to Vice Mayor Satterfield.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Mayor. So, for those of you that have been following along with the RFQ, which is a request for qualifications, we've had the Special People's Park ramp closed since May of last year, and a lot of people missed that access to the river from that park. So what we did was we sent out a request for qualifications, and the deadline was January 31st. Happy to report we had 5 different firms submit to that RFQ. So I have 5 different people who are interested in the park project. What we do need now, going forward, is a review committee to go through these RFQs. So, with Mayor's permission, I assembled a committee that I think will be the most beneficial to review these RFQs. MTAS also has a nice little score sheet template that can be used for RFPs and RFQs. So if I can just go ahead and tell you, I asked Commissioner Hedrick and Commissioner Jenkins if they would like to be on this committee, since they both have an engineering background, as well as 2 citizens that live in the city of Townsend. Mr. Jeff Riddle, who's sitting back there, he has a background in architecture, and then Mr. Mike Bryant, who also has a background in architecture and is also a consulting architect still, so he does still do that part-time. So what I need now going forward is to assemble this committee so that we can study the RFQs, score the RFQs, conduct any further interviews that we might need from these firms, and narrow down a recommendation to come back to City Council with the firm that we would like to work with that would best suit that parks project. So, and then also the 5th member would include myself. So this committee would be short-lived in a sense. We would still meet here at City Hall with minutes. We would still keep minutes, and it would just be a committee to review the qualifications and conduct interviews. Sorry, I'm repeating myself. Do you all have any questions about this committee?
I do.
Okay.
There seems to be a skill set you're missing. Seems like you should have somebody that's a contractor or that kind of background.
Okay.
Just because Becky and I are engineers, we aren't, neither of us are structural engineers.
Mhm.
And so we might need somebody that's experienced at actually contracting and building structures.
Okay.
I don't know who that'd be.
Yeah, me either.
Maybe somebody will come forward.
Yeah, maybe.
Could we use something that it was somebody that is already on our staff, like our building inspector for that?
Mm-hmm.
Just
Sure.
throwing more on his plate.
Mr. Blair, are you willing? We understand it's a time commitment, so it's,
We would just meet as needed. Initially, what we would do is meet, and I would disperse the RFQ packets that have came in, and then each member would take them and study them and score them, and then we would come back and say, you know, we want to move forward with interviews with this particular place or person. But I didn't think about a structural. That just, I mean, you're
A
right.
contractor that's used to
Yeah,
building
construction.
things.
Yeah.
And Mr. Ogle, if he's on it, does he get paid since he's an hourly employee?
Are you talking about Doug or Tim?
Either
Mr.
one.
Ogle or Mr. Blair?
well, Mr. Blair is building inspector, so I would imagine this, you know, might fall in addition to his duties, so we might need to
That's what I,
compensate him.
yeah, if you have him on there, yeah.
But let me just see if he's willing.
Yeah, I'll help.
He's willing, and
Let's just say he's paid.
I think Mr. Blair is always willing, but he is part-time, which is different than full-time city staff, so I think that makes a lot of sense. Mr. Jenkins, are you willing? Commissioner Hedrick? Okay.
Well, I already asked them. Hopefully they're still willing.
Still willing, all right. Okay, I don't have any further questions.
Okay.
I have just a question. Do we have to have, like, when we get the quotes on those, do we have to have 3 quotes, or how does that work with the RFQ? Like, the pricing and the money, I know, do we have to have 3 of those, or?
So with
choose
the
one, or-
RFQ, well, it'd be kind of the same as we did with the community plan.
Okay.
and because we put out an RFQ for that.
Okay,
And so that committee, the Community Plan Advisory Committee, made a recommendation to us on SC group. So it would pretty much be the same format.
I know for audit purposes, we had to have, for some things, we have to have those recommendations. I just wanted to make sure we didn't get in trouble for that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Good
So
question.
these firms would provide us a cost estimate for their service?
What they would most like, where this is a request for qualifications, we didn't ask for a request for proposal, or, I think those are a little more in depth, but this is so that we can ask them when we interview them, you know, what's your preliminary design report costs, up front, and then we can see how much we need to set aside to pay for their designing and permitting and not the actual construction. We wouldn't be getting a price for the actual construction. Hopefully, they could give us some sort of estimate for it, but this would be for the designing purposes for the Special People's Park ramp. Is that correct?
Yeah, and then put out bids for the actual construction.
Yeah, we would put out a bid for the actual construction part.
Okay, any further questions? Okay, may I get a motion to approve these committee members?
I make a motion to approve the committee members.
And also extra compensation for Mr. Blair.
I
Let's
approve
double that.
the-
I make a motion.
Yes.
Okay.
You all vote for
Is
it.
it included?
Can we vote for ourselves? Is it just the mayor and Randy voting?
Okay. Do I have a second? and a second. Any further questions, Commissioner? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, the
Thank
committee is established.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Vice Mayor Satterfield, for leading us through that. And give us a presentation on Tree City, USA.
Yeah, the hot break. It was wild at the Parks and Rec meeting last week. We had like all the garden club here and they were, yeah, so. But I've asked Miss Sue Hamilton here tonight. She was at the Parks and Rec meeting last week. And she's gonna give us a presentation on Tree City, USA. And for the commissioners to consider being a tree city, so.
I do have a handout here. I don't know that I have one for everybody, but it's just highlights what I'm going to cover tonight. So here, I have a wonderful assistant, Francesca. So if you want one, just let me know.
Just make sure the flag is tilted just a little bit. I don't know if that will have anything to do with it or not. No, you're good.
There you go.
It's showing on my screen, but nothing else that. Wonder if I should shut it off and try to boot it up again. No, this is just on my.
Is it a PowerPoint?
Yeah,
You have it opened on there.
I just closed it. But it's not even showing, it's not showing everything.
Try to reopen it up. Thank you.
Sorry about that.
Thank you for saying.
I don't know what you did, but thank you very much. Yes.
And Sue, if you could use a microphone. Microphone, you can just go. Up right there, be closer.
Hey, well, thank you. I appreciate Vice Mayor Kelsey inviting me to come and present this to y'all tonight, this proposal. And I guess I'll start by just telling you a little bit about my background. I'm a retired professor from the University of Tennessee of horticulture, where I did teaching, research. I was the director of the University Botanical Garden for 37 years. I retired and I've been living here for 7 years now, and I just love Townsend. It's my home. It's where I want to spend the rest of my retirement. And so I feel like, I've been immersed in the community now for 7 years and have taken a lot in, and I'm pretty excited about this idea and would just like to share it with y'all and ask for your consideration. So I want to start by telling you, Tree City USA, what exactly is it? It's part of the Arbor Day Foundation. And the Arbor Day Foundation is a huge global foundation, nonprofit, all about trees, tree planting. They were established in 1976, and they are involved globally. So like when we think about deforestation, plowing away and doing away with our tropical rainforests, the Arbor Day Foundation is instrumental in helping to replant trees back. The devastation we just had in California with the wildfires, they will help with that. North Carolina, up Upper East Tennessee, in public spaces and all, if there's been trees that have been erased out of public spaces and all, they will help with that. So they have a global presence. And Tree City USA is one program of what they do. You can see it started in 42 communities in 16 states. And now in all 50 states, there are tree cities across the United States, and as you can see there on the map. So all 50 states, and there's currently over 3,500 tree cities throughout the United States. And when you put all that together, almost 50% of our population where we live in the United States lives in a tree city, USA. The smallest city only has a population of 20 people that have done a Tree City USA. So you don't have to be huge. New York City, our largest city, is also a tree city. So you can be small, big, somewhere in the middle, and you can become a tree city. Tennessee has 37 tree cities with Knoxville, Alcoa, Maryville, and Sevierville, all our closest participants. And this photo is taken from the website. You can go to their website and get into the Tree City program. And you can see like Alcoa, they've been a Tree City for 37 years. And you can scroll down there and see about Maryville and Sevierville and Knoxville. And look at Chattanooga there, I think, 34 years. So, and then you can just see even in our state scattered across. So we have a lot of tree cities in our vicinity, our sister cities. So you might be thinking, well, why would we want to plant trees? What's the advantage of planting trees in our Townsend community? So let me tell you a little bit about some of the research and what studies tell us. You obviously have an enhanced appearance and community pride, and there's a lot to greening and making things more lush and better for our environment. And again, it might be a quiet part of your mind. You don't realize subconsciously the effect that things have on you. And trees can be one of those things where you don't realize the effect of greening and what they do for your mental well-being and all, and how we take pride in our community. Greater appeal for consumers. Studies have shown that more people will frequent restaurants and businesses and public parks and all when there are trees and landscaping and it's just more green and more lush. Higher property values for businesses, for homeowners. Just think if you've ever gone to buy a home or neighborhoods that have big, large, old trees, they add a lot of value to a property. More shade in public areas, it lowers temperatures. There's a correlation between temperatures and domestic violence and anger and feelings of aggression and all. So anytime, especially in public spaces, when you can make temperatures cooler, it's more pleasant for everyone involved. Improved walkability. More people will frequent and walk and enjoy public spaces and be out and be engaged in those areas where there are trees. Stormwater's been a huge issue in the last 10, 12 years with a lot of municipalities. We got to capture that stormwater. One of the best ways you can do that is through lawns, landscaping, trees that help anchors the soil, helps slow down and prevent erosion. It actually captures and filters our water and enhances our water quality. All very important, especially this day and age. And we have improved air quality, affecting our own physical health. And then forested, fostered biodiversity and habitats for wildlife. That's all good when you have trees, and that enhances wildlife and their habitat. And then one of my favorites is the boosted well-being. Again, subconsciously, you may not realize the effect, but being out in nature, being immersed, there's studies just on the effect that canopies have on people. Maybe you've heard about forest bathing, and we do live next to the national park, but we are not living actually in the national park. We're next to it, and I think in our community, as I'm going to show you, there's a lot of strategic places where we could add trees and enhance our quality of life, how all of this affects us in our community. So just to share, a few little things of what we're accustomed to seeing, you may recognize in Alcoa, there are beautifully tree-lined boulevards as you drive. And just as you go through this area, then look, you hit this area and there's no trees. And I mentioned about how people will frequent businesses and restaurants more. And I challenge you, just think about where you do like to go shop and all. And I'll bet you, when you think about those spaces that you really enjoy, I bet they're landscaped and there's trees in the area, and you may even have that canopy. Maryville, areas in Maryville, and it doesn't show well here, but I know we've all seen in that far right corner, that's where they have planted a lot of new trees to replace a lot of the older trees that aged out. But they've got that succession of the next trees coming on. So they've done very well there in greening that. And then here's another shot in those communities of where it's just stark and there's no green and there's no canopy and no trees. And then so here's Townsend, as you come in, we've got this fabulous boulevard that goes right down the middle so far. And that would be an ideal place that maybe we could have our own tree-lined boulevard down through there. And it could be beautiful in the fall and again, just lots of benefits. The greenways, I'll mention that I think it's fabulous that our city has added benches. If you look at where a lot of those benches along the greenway are, they're out in full sun, and I don't know many of us that enjoy sitting in the full sun. So again, those could be some good places to think about adding a tree for future canopy and shade. So as you see, lots of areas there that are open and to the harsh elements, and it can just be softened and enhanced and improved in many ways by adding some trees. So how does Townsend become a tree city? They have 4 standards that a community needs to meet, and the first is to form a tree board or a department, a forestry department. I put on here an example from Knoxville and from Maryville, off their websites where they have their tree boards listed, how frequently they meet, who's on that board. You typically have arborists, horticulturists like myself. You may have a landscape architect. You can comprise that board any way you want. But you have a lot of expertise that help guide and lead the way for what happens with trees in a community. So forming a tree board. Number 2 is to establish a tree care ordinance. And this is where, what's wonderful about the Arbor Day Foundation, they provide, as you can see this sample there, a sample municipal tree ordinance with the tree board. So they actually have prepared a lot of the documents, the legalese, if you want to say, and our community, our city could just fill in the appropriate information. But, you know, you want to have some guidelines on where trees are going to be planted and how will they be cared for, and if something has to be removed and all. So that's what the ordinance is about. Number 3, maintain a community program with an annual budget of at least $2 per capita. And what's nice about this is that whether you know it or not, when you get down and you look at the details, our community probably already spends this much on our population and the trees that we do have. And I use it as an example, as I was just reading about what was happening with the Townsend River Walk. They have some tree trimming and all done by the city here. Well, absolutely, that counts. So you can determine, you know, what was involved in time, like you were calculating how much time is it going to take to paint the entrances and the businesses and on the roads and all. Same thing with any of that tree care or anything like that. So all of that, and there again, there's an example budget where you can see how they've given guidelines for the city people, city employees to determine how to capital that. You have volunteers. If we had a tree planting day, like in November, all those volunteer hours, and you know, the value of a volunteer is like $37, $38, $40 right in that range, and it adds up pretty quick. So, you know, you've got that $2 per capita as standard number 3. And then number 4, Mr. Mayor, this is where we would proclaim and observe Arbor Day. And Arbor Day is coming up in April, but here's again, they actually provide you a proclamation where we could pick the day, and it could just be that, you know, it's put out in a newsletter. We could have a tree planting ceremony, something to celebrate trees, acknowledge trees, maybe educate our community about trees, the value, how to plant, things like that. So that's what proclamation and observe Arbor Day standard number 4. To help us as a community, they also have a readiness quiz, the Arbor Day Foundation does, where we can go through and answer these questions and see how are we ready for something like this? Do we meet the criteria? So that's an easy online thing for us to do. And then I'd like to add, the big deal here is you might be thinking, well, how much is all of this going to cost us over time and all? Boy, when it comes to planting trees, if you want to solve a lot of the world's problems with global warming and things like that, plant trees, plant anything, plants just do so much to filter our air, clean our water, and lower temperatures and all. So look at, there's lots of grants. This is just for Tennessee. Even there's the Tennessee Department of Agriculture grant opportunities. Here's USDA. The Arbor Day Foundation gives you lots of resources to tap into. And many times trees can be provided, funds can be provided. So it's easy to find support for trees. And then finally, benefits of recognition for our community. You can receive flags, signs. Typically the signs, like at the very beginning, looks like a street sign, stop sign like you have up for a school crossing, something like that, where it just acknowledges, you may see these as you're out and about in some communities, that, you know, Townsend is a tree city, USA. So you can get recognition in that manner. And launching this program, I know it's going to require careful planning, effort, but I really think the benefits far outweigh the necessary work. And I'd like to just say, look at the support. We have the Arbor Day Foundation with a lot of the materials I just shared with you here. We've got, you may not be familiar with this, but the Tennessee Urban Forestry Council, they do a lot of work within Tennessee on certifying. We have a lot of arboretums around Tennessee. They also give grants, education. I'm volunteering myself with my own professional network and all. I'm part of the Tuckaleechee Garden Club, where they have a nice presence tonight. And if you're familiar with that group, you know they're very active and involved in the community. And look at the things that they support in the community. I know we all love our Townsend River Walk and Arboretum. They're involved down at the Heritage Center with the gardens there and the grounds of the elementary school here. So we've got their support, and then I just know from talking with folks that there's lots of interest. Kelsey has shared this too, in planting some more trees and having our community be a bit more green. And with that, I'll just say thanks for letting me present this, and does anybody have any comments or questions?
Okay, thank you, Sue. Really appreciate that presentation. light on the scene, and then we'll ask the questions, and we'll keep moving. This is such a blessing, I think, to be able to present this information to our community. I know a lot of people that like trees, and also we have a special spot for Appalachian Garden Club, of course. Commissioners, any questions from Ms. Hanson? Vice Mayor Satterfield, would it be possible to ask the Parks and Rec Committee to study this and to investigate it, maybe help facilitate the readiness quiz, and come back to us with a recommendation on whether or not this is something that might be right for us to take up?
Sure, I'd be happy to do that. The board would be happy to do that. I'm sure Sue would be happy to help with that as well. I did reach out to City of Maryville and City of Alcoa to get a copy of their ordinances for their tree boards already. And then I also have been in contact with Alex from the Department of Agriculture Forestry Department, and she said that she would also help with anything that we need, crafting an ordinance or how to establish a board, what all's needed, working with our codes and seeing what kind of trees we can plant and where and when and all that stuff. So I'd be happy to do further research, but thank you all for listening to her presentation and for us to consider becoming a tree city.
Okay, thank you again for that. All right, Commissioners, we've got 4 special event applications. Our event organizers have been very patient sitting through a long meeting. I think it's helpful because it gets to get to see what our community is about. I'm also cognizant of the fact that we might need to change batteries at a certain moment. So I'll give you a couple of options and you can give me some feedback. We can take a quick restroom break right now, swap out the batteries, or we can see if we can get this done 4 special event applications in less than 20 minutes. Go ahead. Everybody's ready? Okay.
We're good.
All right, let's be expeditious. First special event application we have is for Townsend Community Appreciation Day. The date is April the 9th, 2025. Time is 11 to 2. CBBC Bank. Scott Edmondson is the organizer. Scott here?
I'm here.
Oh, here. Scott, is this the event where you have hot dogs?
It is. Yes, sir.
I know this event.
Okay. Yes, sir. We invite you and the community to come this year if you will approve it.
Okay. Anything else you'd like to tell us about the event?
If you got any questions, I'll be more than happy to answer them. Try my best to. But the community's invited. It's just a way that we like to say thank you for letting us be part of the community, and thank you to Townsend, and thank you for us being here.
Okay. Thank you very much. Chief Condi, your recommendation on this? Any trouble with this event in the past?
Yeah, trouble every year.
All right.
They're fine.
Okay.
I'll bring you the hot dog.
Good food.
Come down.
Please approve.
This is in the category of getting into good trouble.
What day of the week is
April the 9th, I believe, is
I think it's a Wednesday.
Wednesday.
Wednesday. Okay.
How many years have y'all been doing this? I know y'all have been doing this for a while in our community.
I think this is the 3rd one consecutive, but before that, we did it like every 5 years or so.
All right, Commissioner, may I get a motion and a second to approve this special event application?
Make a motion to approve the Townsend Community Appreciation Day put on by CBBC Bank.
Okay, can I have a second?
second?
Any further discussion, questions for the organizer? Okay, all in favor of approving the special event application, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Your application.
Thank you.
Thank you for staying with us. Okay, next one. Special event application for Railroad and Heritage Days, spring and fall dates. So there's 2 dates on here that are being requested. One is April 12th and 13th. Time is 10 to 5 p.m. at the Railroad and Lumber Company Museum. Fall dates, September 27th. The time again is 10 to 5 at the Railroad Museum. And I think Dana Lund, you're here on behalf of the...
Yes, I apologize, I don't stand so well, so.
Well, that's okay, you can...
But I'll talk loud.
Okay, anything you want to tell us about this event?
We just honor our heritage here in the community, not only the railroad and lumber, but the community in general. So we have extra exhibits and demonstrations, arts, crafts, Appalachian music, so it's our big old time.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, Commissioner, may I get a motion and a second to approve Railroad and Heritage Days, both their spring and fall dates?
I make a motion to accept the Railroad and Heritage Days. Also, there is an exemption because they are a nonprofit to exempt money, and I do approve that also for both of those days in April and in September.
Okay, we got a motion to a fee waiver. Second?
Second.
Okay, I got a motion second. Any other questions? Okay, all in favor of approving this special event application, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay, application is approved.
I really like the fact that we economized and got two approved at the same time.
Moving right along, let's go to next special event application, Springtime in the Smokies. This is May 9th and 10th. During the daytime, it's at the Tally Ho. The organizer is Jesse Lynn. Let me see what I can tell you about this one. Jesse, why don't you go ahead and tell us while I'm looking up your paperwork.
Thank you for having me. So Springtime in the Smokies, we've been doing this since about 1987, and it is an annual event. It is a car show and gathering of predominantly English and European motor cars. And so we typically have about 200 or so attendees. We take the any proceeds, so we sell tickets for entry fee, if you will, and then to the public it's free. And then any money that's raised, we split between 4 different charities. And so at the end of the day, it's really just a car show, a car gathering of like-minded people.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you for introducing that. Chief Connie? We've had this event up here before a few times.
That's correct. Yeah, no issues at all. It's not, no, it's a super large event. There are any issues. I would say that to be a little more effective in your presentation, if you would use a British accent. There you go. I'm sorry.
Okay, thank you for that. Commissioner, may I get a motion and a second, and we'll have any further discussion on this event?
Make a motion to accept the application for the Springtime in the Smokies.
Okay, do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, I got a motion and a second. Any further questions? I've got one. Do you all have any kind of an organized ride that you do there?
We do on Saturday, I'll call it quasi-organized. Typically 5 to 10 cars will go towards the Foothills Parkway and do a little route and then come back. We do that for guests that might be interested in going through a little bit of a drive while we're packing everything back into the trailer.
Okay. 5 to 10 cars.
5 to 10 cars. It's very, very small, but very scenic.
Okay, yes. Commissioners, any other questions?
There's no raffle involved.
There is no raffle involved.
And since they're British cars, do you have a racker on site?
We have lots of mechanics and tools.
Okay. All in favor of approving the special event application for the Springtime in the Smokies event, May 9th and 10th at the Tally Ho, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, your event's approved. Thank you so much. Good luck with it.
Appreciate it.
Okay. And the last one on the list, we've been incredibly efficient. Special event applications for the Bronco Throwback. This is September 25 and 27. Okay. And at the Tally Ho.
Correct. Yeah, we do a big event in April at the visitor center, and this is kind of just for the older Broncos.
Ah,
That's why it's called throwback. This is just for the early Broncos, 66 to 77.
okay.
A lot smaller and a lot, I don't want to use the word
Be
older
careful,
gentlemen.
be careful. More mature crowd.
Yeah, this is kind of how we started back in 2006 when we first started the events up here.
Let's see, it's 1966 and 1996.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, and you anticipate,
Last year we had about 150 cars, 150 Broncos.
150 cars, okay. Chief, how about this one?
It's fine. It's
These are Broncos.
not even a blip on the radar compared to the big
Yeah.
Bronco blowout.
Okay.
So,
Yeah, this is a lot more laid back, a lot more, it's not like the April event.
Okay. Tom, y'all got any sort of organized ride?
We do. We generally have 3 or 4 organized rides with the old Broncos, and yes, we do have a trailer, because we generally do have to bring 1 or 2 back.
Okay. And Chief, have you looked at the route, any issues with getting out on the highway? Any?
Generally, we take a ride out of Tally-Ho into,
Take a ride.
Parsons Branch, that area. The Broncos like to get a little dirty and do a little off-roading. But it's the last time of year before they close some of those park lots.
Sounds good. Commissioner, can I get a motion and a second on the Bronco throwback?
Make a motion to accept the special application for the Bronco throwback.
Have a second.
Second.
Okay, I got a motion and a second. Any other questions for Mr. Broberg about this event?
What kind of vendors are you gonna have? So you have that checked.
Yeah, generally this is very small on the vendors. We have a few local vendors that do, Bronco parts. Knoxville's kind of a Bronco industry area, so there's a couple out of Maryville Industries and there's one out of Knoxville, but it's not like April where they'll travel from California or Seattle. It's kind of more of a specific niche.
Okay.
Other questions? Okay, all in favor of the Bronco throwback event, say aye. Any opposed? Okay, your
I
application.
had a question for you.
Sure.
The blue Bronco out there, it's got a 66 on it. Is that yours?
Yes, that's what we're
Good
doing.
looking car.
That's a throwback to the early golf.
Okay, Commissioners, that was very efficient. Again, thanks to our event organizers for sticking around through that. Next thing we have is unfinished business. Do we have any unfinished business, city manager, anything come to your mind?
Only thing is schedule another budget workshop.
Okay, to schedule a budget workshop? Okay.
And maybe another workshop to discuss the things that we discussed in our workshop.
Okay. Another workshop to discuss the things we talked about at the last workshop. Okay, sounds good. I won't endeavor to try to set a date while we're up here. We'll come back and set a date for that. But we'll set a date for a budget workshop. Okay. Now, next item I have, I see we've still got quite a few folks sticking around. We've got public input not on the agenda. How many people want to say something, public input for items not on the agenda? Anybody else? Okay.
Just Tommy and Sandy.
Tommy and Sandy.
Tommy McAvoy and Sandy.
Okay. All right, let's go ahead. I think, Mr. Brown? Oop. We still got batteries?
Yeah.
We're still good on batteries. Okay. Ms. McAvoy.
I'm actually kind of surprised this item was not on the agenda, since you're all aware of the Senate and House bills that are directly impacting Townsend. So I guess when I finish what I have to say, I have a question for when it will be on the agenda. I sent you all a letter the other day, but I wrote another one because there's just a lot going on the internet and on the Facebook pages, and I want it to be brought to public record. So good evening, Mr. Mayor and members of the Board of Commissioners. My name is Tommy McAvoy, and I'm a citizen of the city of Townsend. I want to state for the record that I have been sharing Tennessee Senate Bill 0965 and House Bill 090 with the members of the Facebook page Townsend Preservation Society. The membership of this page is comprised of both citizens and interested tourists. I have been urging them to contact their state representatives and urging those representatives to vote no on these de-annexation bills. The authors of these bills, Senator Tom Hatcher and Representative Tom Stinnett, have both indicated that they introduced these bills under lobbyist pressure from Blount County Partnership. Representative Stinnett was extremely specific in his answer about the partnership's unhappiness with the Townsend leadership and their, quote, changed approach to the festival center. So basically they're asking, or proposing that they would be able to de-annex from Townsend with very little trouble. That would certainly impact our bottom line. In the Planning Commission meeting minutes from October 13th, 2022, Brian Daniels, chair of Blount County Partnership, referring to the visitor center upgrades, quote, reiterated that they are keeping with the quiet, peaceful theme of Townsend with their additions, end quote. In his reply to our letter of concern, Representative Stinnett replies that the goal of the festivals is 12,000 to 15,000 people per festival. What is peaceful about that? There seems to be a great deal of dispute as to what is considered a, quote, quiet and peaceful theme, end quote. The Blount County project is now complete, and it is a part of Townsend whether the residents are happy or not. We now have to find a way to make it beneficial to all parties involved. The de-annexation proposal is a bully move designed to allow financially powerful entities in Townsend and Blount County to get their way without having to deal with the problematic, quote, anti-tourism, anti-business zealots, end quote, as one prominent local business owner in Townsend put it. This can only hurt both the citizens and the business owners in our city as we have a mutually beneficial relationship. There has to be a way for the citizens of Townsend and their elected officials to have a say in what types of events come to Townsend. There has to be a way for Blount County Partnership to continue requests for financial benefit without compromising the lives of the citizens of this valley. Going over the heads of, quote, zealots and other citizens is not a good look for Blount County Partnership or the business owners here. Finding common ground, pun intended, is the only way forward that will improve the lives of all parties. The relationship between a bully and a victim is never the answer. Let's find another way.
Okay.
Sandy? My name is Sandy Hendrick, and I just wanted to approach the commission and to just say that the city of Townsend goes back a long way. There's a lot of history in the city of Townsend. There's a lot of history in the people that formed the city of Townsend, why they did it, how they did it, and I think that all of that needs to be discovered again, talked about, learned, so that the focus might be what the city fathers intended it to be. Actually, the peaceful side of the Smokies. People don't know what that means in reality. And so I just think there's a lot to learn from old hats like myself about what went on 40, 50 years ago that you guys weren't even born yet. We can learn from our forefathers. I just want to offer that if anyone is interested in really finding out about the city of Townsend.
Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Okay, any further comments on this? Mr. Owen?
I wasn't sure if I would stay around to comment on this topic tonight. I would like to say for the record, we are against, or I am against, we are against, the partnerships seceding the Townsend Visitor Center leaving town. It doesn't do any of us good to have a fractured system, but this is not a one-sided conversation. We're not in this position because the partnership single-handedly has decided to stop working with us here, stop working with this commission. So while it is easy to play this, bully victim, big guy, little guy thing, it's simply not as simple as the partnership choosing to leave us because we had a good relationship with them and they want even more freedom. We as business owners here in town do benefit from the partnership stuff, usually with the Townsend Visitor Center, but it's not I think it's not like what a lot of folks really believe, you know? When these huge festivals come through, like the news in Knoxville, the news in Marable, the way that these things work, like they scare all of our locals away. I mean, the locals being like Marable, you know, all the folks that live in Watt County, and they bring in, you know, the tourists that are coming today that want to support that festival, and that's great. And we appreciate those new faces in town, and we appreciate the people that are coming to make first-time memories here in Townsend, and hope that they'll make, you know, second and third and lasting memories here after that. I guess if there's one thing that I could, you know, end with, and it's just a request to tone it down across the board. This town should not be run on Facebook. This town should not be run in private groups where we exclude, you know, other voices. This town should not be run by people who continually claim that they speak for the citizens and they're the only voice that speaks for the citizens. Like, I'm a citizen here. Apparently, you know, I'm one of 14 people that lives and works here in town. And we learned that today in CPAC, right? That we don't have that many people that live and work in town. You know, there's what, 500 of us here? But I'm so tired of hearing about how the citizens want this. Well, we don't speak for everybody when we're up here. You know, I speak for myself, I might speak for my dad, I might speak for, you know, my family member I work with, and, you know, the family business we have, but I don't speak for my neighbors, you know, and I don't claim to. But what I ask is that as we approach what is going to be an extremely contentious conversation, we don't overstate what we believe to be the citizens' approach to this. Let's all, you know, strive to bring all the voices in and strive to actually have a conversation with everybody instead of, you know, choosing the loudest person in the room or choosing the loudest member or the bravest member of the group to speak on everything. So, anyway, maybe I went on too long, I'm sorry. Thank you guys for giving me a chance to speak, and I hope that Mayor, that you'll continue to work with the partnership as I know that you've been very adamant that you have, and for the rest of the commissioners, that we don't just turn our back on a chess move, right? That we work towards a solution that we all can live with, and we all can work together to create a future that we want here. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Rhodes. Okay. Commissioners, I do have some information because I've been getting a number of questions about this as well. So I want to share with you what I know about these bills, and maybe I'll know some things too that we can share and discuss. So we are aware that there are companion bills that were introduced into the Tennessee House and Senate by Tom Senate and Tom Hatcher, respectively, on Wednesday, February the 5th. The bills were assigned to the Cities and Counties Subcommittee in the House and the Energy and Ag and Natural Resources Committee in the Senate. Our Representative Jerome Moon chairs the House and Senate Subcommittee. Bills have identical language. Taking a look at them. I'm happy to read them here. I think at our workshop I read them out. But I think by this point folks have been able to access the text of this. It's pretty short, but it does seem to indicate that there is a bar that would be lowered to pursue de-annexation in certain circumstances, which look like it could pertain to us. I've had a number of citizens ask some questions, so here's the information that I have. Could this legislation potentially impact the city of Townsend? Yes, Smoky Mountain Tourism Development Authority holds the property where the Townsend Visitor Center is located. Was the city of Townsend consulted by any of our state legislators or county officials during the development or prior to the introduction of legislation? No. Was the city's understanding of why what's the city's understanding of why this legislation has been introduced? It's been suggested to me that it's a restrictive posture by the City of Townsend City Council toward events anticipated to be held at the event center. Will the legislation have any immediate consequences? Based on our understanding so far, it would require a tourism development Development Authority to initiate a request for de-annexation. What are some of the potential consequences of de-annexation? Well, based on our understanding so far, de-annexation could prohibit the city from collecting sales tax on items sold at the Tourism Development Authority's property, enforcing building and zoning codes, and would also prohibit us from requiring special event or mobile food vendor permits. What is the city doing about the proposed legislation? Well, given the recent introduction, we're of course studying and analyzing the potential impact to Townsend. We are reaching out to state legislators and county officials, and we're providing information to our citizens like we're doing tonight. And I think that's what I know about it at this point in time. I'll just say, from my perspective, I'm not speaking for the city council, but I don't think de-annexation is the way to go. There are other alternatives to be able to work together. And you all have heard tonight reference to our community plan. We are in the process of updating our community plan. What does that mean? Well, it means that we've undertaken a big exercise to talk about the values and the reason why people come to live here and why people come to visit here. And one of the things we found out as part of that is it's pretty well aligned. Our visitors come here for the same reason that people want to live here. But it is important to have a balance. Now, the Visitor Center has been part of our community, part of our landscape for a long time. And naturally, as part of the community plan update, we would need to figure out, how do you operate with some large event center right in the middle of your city? But I believe that is the proper way to take a look at it, and we can handle it through zoning and other types of approaches. So I don't think de-annexation is a good solution. That's my personal opinion. Again, our city council will be able to weigh in on that. But I do think that it is important for us to be able to work together and find solutions. You all have sat here for a very long time. You've seen us approve special event permits. We're not against special events. But there does need to be some common sense and coordination. There's not really anybody, any entity that coordinates these things. And there's only a couple of ways in and out of Townsend. So you got to come in and out of Townsend to do any event that happens here, whether it's at the Visitor Center or somewhere else. So I look forward to being able to continue to have this dialogue with our state legislators, our county officials, and importantly, folks at the Blunt Partnership. I think it's going to be really important for us to be able to work together. But I'll stop there and see if other commissioners might want to weigh in.
Could you report, keep the commission, the subcommittees that are looking at this?
Yes, sir. So in the House, these are two identical bills. And in the House, it is the Cities and Counties Subcommittee, and it's chaired by Jerome Moon. And in the Senate, it is the Energy, Ag, and Natural Resources Committee. I apologize, I don't know who the chair is for that. Commissioners?
I was advised from somebody from Mr. Hatcher's office that we needed to, as a commission, we needed to sit down and have a long conversation with those at the chamber. And see if we could work things out. I would agree with that.
I was told by one of the committee chairmen, and I don't remember which one, but the public has an opportunity to stand up in front of them and talk. And all you have to do is let them know that you want to do it a day ahead of time, and they'll put you on the schedule, and you can stand up there and tell them what you think. I'm sure in a polite manner, but that's standard procedure.
Okay. Very much. Any other questions or points of view from the commission? I think we do need to take this seriously. This is a very important time in our city, and so we cannot not take this seriously, to Mrs. McAvoy's point. Okay. With that, any other business that we have for tonight?
I've got something. last Thursday night, the Plum Commission, Plum County Commission, had a workshop, and at that workshop, they decided what would be on their agenda this Thursday. And one of the items on the agenda is for them to talk about and perhaps resolve repairing the swinging bridge and getting it back open. And that's on Thursday night. And if you're really interested, you need to be sitting in one of those seats. It's 6:30 and room 430. Last time I was the only citizen there, got up and spoke, that it would be nice if we could go over there. You know, because we want that swinging bridge repaired, we want it back open. It's a valuable asset to the city. It's a valuable asset for the history of Townsend, like Sandy was talking about. And so I would urge some people to go to that meeting.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Jenkins. Okay, with that, it looks like we concluded our agenda. I'll call for a motion to adjourn. Okay, I have a second?
Second.
Got a motion second to adjourn. All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay, we are adjourned.